Sound check. Can you hear me po? Kindly comment. Okay, good. So let's just wait for the others, no? Time check, it's 10:23 a.m. and we're going to start at 10:30. I hope makapag-start tayo ng 10:30. Let's wait for the others po. While waiting, you can get your pen, notebook, and you can also get calculator. So pwede pong calcu. So that later when I ask for solving, so mas mabilis niyong makukuha. So the important thing here is you understand the topic. So again, kindly get pen, paper, and calculator. I think we can start. So again, before I start the lesson, so pwede ko bang malaman kung naririnig po ako? Kindly type in the comment section, please. Okay, so I think naririnig naman. Okay, good. So, good morning, and we are back, no, for the second quarter. So this will be the first lesson for the second quarter. We are done already with the first quarter, but still meron pa rin, or I mean madami pa rin students ang hindi pa rin complete with their requirements. So if you know na kayo ay may kulang pa, so you may submit still. And if you have a friend or friends na alam nyo kulang pa ang pinapasa, so please tell them kasi next week will be the card viewing already. Okay, so let's start the second quarter. So our first lesson is about variation. So in variation or in math, so we have four kinds of variation. So we have direct, inverse, joint, and combined. So the first thing we are going to do is to define and explain what is variation. So before that, so I will give you the objectives for today's lesson. So the students must be able to define variation. So after, okay, so medyo nawawala ata yung aking connection. So please comment in the, or please give a comment kung medyo nawawala yung signal. Okay, thank you. So let's continue. So the objectives are, so define variation. So at the end of this lesson, so you should know how to define variations. And then number two, illustrate situations that involve the following variations: direct, inverse, joint, and combined. So ano ibig sabihin nun? So at the end of this lesson, so dapat alam nyo, so when I give, for example, a situation, it could be in form of table of values, it could be in form of graph, it could be in form of equations or situations. So dapat malaman nyo kung yung situation na ba yun or yung binigay ko na yun ba ay direct, inverse, joint, and combined. So dapat matukoy nyo. And of course, later i-explain ko yun. So next, so you should be able to translate into variation statement a relationship between two quantities. So given by table of values, an equation, and a graph, and vice versa. And the last one is solve problems involving variation. So yun po yung pinakahuling yung dapat matutunan today. So let's continue. So ano ba ibig sabihin ng variation? Okay? So kinuha natin to from assignmentpoint.com. So ito pong definition na to ay from that website. Variation is defined as any change in some quantity due to the change of another quantity with a constant. So pag binasa nyo, yung word na binabanggit dyan is change. Okay? Actually, the word variation, English term, so it came from the word, or it comes from the word vary. When we say vary, nagbabago. So there is a change. So in math, kapag sinabi natin variation, there should be a change. But hindi pwedeng basta change lang, no? So at the end of our definition, so meron tayong change of another quantity, so with a constant. Okay? So itong part na to. So dapat may constant. So later on, explain ko yan. Ngayon, so one of the best way to explain something is by giving an example. No? So kasi mas pag simple, pag may example. So I will give an example about the variation. Actually, itong variation in math, you encounter this most of the time in a simple situation. Yes, opo. So na-encounter nyo tong variation. So kahit sa pagbili sa tindahan, na-encounter nyo yan. Okay? Yung variations. I will give an example. Okay, so that is the keyword for variation. change, and constant. So dapat pag may change, so dapat din may constant. So medyo contradicting yun, no? Kasi in variation, ang keyword ay change, but the word constant, ang ibig sabihin ng constant ay hindi nagbabago, no? Medyo contradicting. So I will explain that later on. Okay, so this will be a real life scenario, an example of variation. So for example, we have three face mask, no? So meron tatlong face mask and yung tatlong face mask na yon ay nagkakahalaga ng 15 pesos. So I think mura na ang face mask ngayon, di ba? And very timely itong ating example. So three face mask ay 15 pesos. Okay? Ngayon, so wala pang variation kasi wala pa namang nagbago, no? Sabi nga pag variation change. So let's tell that again and again yung the word change kasi yun yung ating keyword. Now, so three face mask 15 pesos. Ngayon, so gusto mo bumili ng face mask na tatlo and that is 15 pesos. But later on, biglang nagbago yung isip mo and sinabi mo na anim na lang kaya yung bilhin kasi syempre 'di ba pag face mask ano yan dinidispose agad yan. So nagbago ka ng isip, no? So yung from 3 face mask ang bibilihin mo na ngayon ay 6 face mask. So nagbago yung ating quantity, 'di ba? Nakalagay nga dyan sa variation, change in some quantity. Ngayon, ang tanong diyan, kung nagbago yung bilang ng face mask, what will happen to the price? Paki-comment nga. So what will happen to the price? So very simple question, di ba? So nagbago ka ng bilang ng face mask na bibilhin. So do you think 15 pesos pa rin yung price kung 6 na face mask na? So it will increase. Okay, ano na agad, no? Very specific. Yung kay okay. So it will increase. So madodoble. Okay, good. Yung increase at saka yung word na madodoble, so it has something to do with the change, di ba? So nagbago. Okay, so doon na papasok yung ating variation. Okay, so it will become 30 pesos. So ano yung variation dito? Ang variation dito ay naganap nung nagbago yung face mask or yung bilang ng face mask. Ano yung naging effect? Okay, ano yung naging effect nung nagbago yung bilang ng face mask dun sa price? Ang naging effect niya, it increases. So yun po yung variation, okay? So ganun lang siya kasimple. So ibig sabihin, kapag may isa kang bagay na nagbago, yung effect nun magbabago din. Okay? So yun po yung variation. Ngayon, so nasaan dito yung tinatawag nating constant? Okay? So nasaan yung constant dito? Marami nagbago. From 3 face mask, it became 6 face mask. And of course, nagbago yung price, it became 30 pesos. Variation happens or happened. Ngayon, pag sinabi natin constant, hindi nagbabago. So ngayon, in this scenario, okay, in this scenario, ano ang hindi nagbago dyan? Kindly comment in the comment section. Di ba, tricky, no? Ang tricky ng variation kasi, di ba, pag sinabing variation, it's all about change. Pero kailangan may constant. Ayun ang tanong ko. In this scenario, in this example, ano yung hindi nagbago? Kasi there should be a constant for it to be called variation. Anyone? Yung binili? What do you mean? Yung face mask? Let's talk about quantity. Pag sinabi natin quantity, nabibilang, na may measure. O syempre yung face mask, oo. Okay, nice. Nice observation. Of course, yung klase ng face mask, hindi nagbago yon. So, aside from the product, actually, that is not what I am looking for. Pero good observation, syempre, kung ano yung binili mo na klase ng face mask, yun pa rin yung bibilhin mo. Kahit 6 pa yung binili mo, di ba? Anyone? In this scenario, ano ang hindi nagbago? Wala pang nakakakuha. Ang tamang sagot. I'm still waiting. Gusto ko makuha niyo eh. Okay? Yung kay Lexicomia, medyo indirect, no? Pero yun yung hinahanap natin. Yung cost ng face mask. Ang hindi nagbago yan. Good, Jenica Balane. Yung presyo. Okay? Yung presyo ay hindi nagbago. Nagbago yung bilang ng face mask. Nagbago syempre yung price, yung total price. Pero ang hindi nagbago dyan ay yung presyo mismo ng face mask, which is 5 pesos. Okay? Ngayon, yung price, okay, yung 5 pesos na yan na hindi nagbago, so that is what we called constant. Okay? So yan po ang variation. So that is only one example of variation. Marami pang pwedeng pag-anuhan yan, pag-applyan, okay, ng variation. Okay? So I hope you understand already. Kahit bahagya lang yung variation, ang mahalaga dyan ay you get already the gist or the overview or the main point of variation. So let's proceed. Now, let's go to direct variation. So again, we have four kinds of variation. So we have direct, we have inverse, joint, and combined. So the first variation that we're going to tackle is direct variation. So we have the word direct, no? Now, in every variation, so we have an equation and statement. And then later on, we're going to compare kung anong pinagkaiba-iba nila. So for direct variation, the equation is y is equal to kx. Okay, so that is the equation. Ngayon, in variation, so we have two variables. Okay? So yung variable natin dyan is yung y and yung x. So I hope you are familiar with the word variable. So again, ang variable natin dyan is yung y and yung x. And then the constant na tinutukoy natin kanina is yung k. Malinaw? So in variation, hindi pwedeng mawala yung k. Lagi yung nandyan, laging kasama sa equation yung k. Pwede mawala yung y, pwede mawala yung x, kasi pwede naman tayong gumamit ng ibang letter like A, B, C, pero yung k, lagi yan nandyan. Kasi yung constant ay hindi pwedeng mawala. Okay, let's go back no dun sa ating definition of variation. Kasi 'di ba, sabi ko, meron tayong dalawang variable which is y and then x. Okay, here in our example a while ago, ano yung dalawang variable dito na tinutukoy nung scenario? Ano kaya yung dalawang variable na tinutukoy nung scenario? Anyone? So any guess? What are the two variables? Okay, very good, Rafael. Okay, so the variables here are the face mask, or para mas specific is the number of face mask and the price or the total price. So that is the variable. So yung face mask or yung number ng face mask, pwede natin gawing y yon, variable y, and then yung total price, pwede natin gawing x. So yun yung variable, okay? So face mask and the price. So very good. So banggitin din natin yung manakuha ng tamang sagot. But of course, Rafael Tabod is the first one to get the correct answer. So Princess, okay Rafael, good. Pero constant yung presyo. Yung presyo ng isang face mask. Okay, yun yung constant. So Blessy, and then Piolo, J. Green Cruz, Trisha, Michael Aguas, Eunice Estacion. So very good. So let's go back no dun sa direct variation. So yun yung dalawang variable. Now, later on kasi we're going to translate equation to statement, then statement to equation. So from equation, so we have y is equal to kx, but we're not going to read that as y is equal to kx. So meron tamang statement for that. So if you will encounter y is equal to kx, ang tamang statement for that is y varies directly to x. Okay? So yun po yung isang statement. The other statement could be y is directly proportional to x. And then the last one is y is proportional to x. So madali lang namang matukoy kung yung statement ay direct or inverse or joint or combined. So if you're going to take a look here in direct variation, meron tayong word na directly. So in short, kapag nandyan yung word na directly, so that is direct variation. Okay? So paano natin malalaman kung yung equation is direct variation? So here, if you're going to observe, yung equation ng direct variation, yung k na constant, katabi niya yung isang variable. Kapag yung k at saka yung isang variable ay magkatabi, so that is direct variation. Okay? So next, let's have an example. Okay, this is the example. The cost C of the pork varies directly to its weight. So ano kaya yung equation na mabubuo natin dyan? So nilagay ko na po yung variable, no? So ang variable dyan ay yung cost of the pork and yung weight. So meron na tayong variable na C at saka W. So let me see in the comment section. So ano po kaya ang equation na mabubuo natin from this statement? The cost of the pork varies directly to its weight. Okay, very good. Daniel Silva. Si Daniel Silva ang ating top 1. Nakuha niya agad. So C is equal to KW. Tama yan. So yan po ang equation na mabubuo natin kasi nga direct variation. So C is equal to KW. Okay? So good. So Kylon, Princess Margaret Heminos. So tama yan. So C is equal to KW. So next. Okay, so how about this one? X is directly proportional to the square of y. Ang hirap daw maghanap ng equal sign. So how about the second one? X is directly proportional to the square of y. So hint lang, meron tayong dyang word na square. Pag sinabi natin square, that is an exponent. So what exponent is that? Yeah, lalo na kayo mahihirapan. Uy, ang galing. Ang bilis maghanap ni Kylon ng ng exponent. Yung iba, feeling ko hirap na maghanap ng exponent. Okay, the correct answer here. Okay. Ayun. Yan yung makikita nating tawag dito, concern. Nakita ko na naglabasan na. Even though hindi talaga nakuha yung tamang sagot, may mga nagsabi na y is equal to kx. Kasi nga, yung example natin, itong example natin dito, y is equal to kx. Hindi porket may x at saka y is equal to kx agad. Ngayon, paano ba natin malalaman na ganito ang equation? X is equal to ky squared. Yan po ang tamang sagot. X is equal to ky squared. Ngayon, so mali po yung mga nagsagot ng y is equal to kx. Porket nakita ng x at y, yun na agad. Kasi yun yung una kong example, no? So mali. Paano ba natin malalaman na ang mauuna ay x at ang kasunod ay y? Or the other way around? Ngayon, if you're going to take a look at our example, ang unang nabanggit ay x. Kung ano yung unang mababanggit na variable, so that will be the first variable in the equation na isusulat natin. So katulad dito, ang una nating nilagay is x. Kasi yun yung unang nabanggit, no? So that's how we identify, no, the correct variable. So the correct answer here is x is equal to ky squared. Kasi naunang banggitin yung x, and then sabi is directly proportional to the square of y. Okay, so kaya po mangalawa yung y with the exponent of 2. Kasi nga, square of y. And another thing, no, let's be more technical. When we are writing equation, let's take note of the letter. Ang letter ba ay naka-capital? Ang letter ba ay naka-lowercase or small letter? So mahalaga po yun. Kasi in direct or in variation, ang capital na Y at yung small letter na Y ay magkaiba. Okay? So kung ano yung nakalagay dun sa statement, kung ang nakalagay sa statement ay capital letter, so ang gagamitin natin sa equation ay capital letter din. Kung ang nasa statement ay lowercase na letter or small letter, so dapat small letter din ang gagamitin sa equation. Okay? So I hope you're getting it, ha? Okay, next one. So how about this one? The amount of gas needed is proportional to the distance traveled by a car. So let's see. The amount of gas. Oh, sorry. Tinakpan nung mukha ko. No, sorry, sorry. Okay, yan. Oh, wala na yung aking mukha. The amount of gas needed is proportional to the distance traveled by a car. Okay na, Rafael. Natanggal ko na. Okay na. Let me see kung ano po ang inyong sagot. So I hope the others will participate also, no? Kasi you will learn more, no? If you're interacting, if you're active. Kapag nakaupo lang kayo dyan, tapos di kayo nagsasagot, so mas mahirap matutunan yung isang bagay. But if you're going to participate at active kayo, mas magre-retain yan. Okay, good. Nice one. Okay, nakukuha nyo na. Di ba? Dali lang naman ang variation, no? Madali lang yung variation. So the correct answer here is G is equal to KD. I think I don't have to explain this anymore kasi most of you, I think all of you, got the correct answer, yung mga nag-chat. So G is equal to KD. And you use small letter, no? Tama yan. Kasi nga, ang ginamit nating letter din dito ay small letter or yung lowercase. Okay, now, I have a question for you, no? Kasi we're not going to stop here na magta-translate lang tayo, no? Kasi parang walang understanding doon, no? So, I need you to understand kung ano ba talaga pag sinabing direct variation. So, let's have this third example, yung the amount of gas needed is proportional to the distance traveled by a car. Okay, ano bang ibig sabihin niyan? Okay, na ito ay direct variation. Paano ba natin nasabi na itong example na to ay direct variation? Okay, so let's have a scenario again, no? The amount of gas needed is proportional to the distance traveled by a car. So ano ba ibig sabihin nun? So magbibigay ako ng scenario tas dudugtungan nyo lang, no? So syempre yan ay gas ng kotse, di ba? Syempre pag konti lang yung gas, so konti lang yung distance, no? So yun ang ibig sabihin nun. So what will happen if I will increase the amount of gas? So what will happen to the distance traveled by a car? So for example, I increase or I added the amount of gas in the car. So what will happen to the distance traveled by a car? Okay. Si Rafael talaga active, no? I hope the others also. And tama yon. So it will increase. So that is yun kasi ito kasi yung ito yung term na gagamitin natin in direct and inverse. And of course for joint and then for combined. So that's how you will know, okay? That's how you will know if the given is direct, is inverse, or joint or combined. So you should know what will be the effect, no? 'Di ba ang variation nga is change, no? What change, okay? Anong change ang mangyayari kapag nagbago itong una? 'Di ba yung sabi ko the amount of gas ay nag-increase. So there's a change. So what kind of change will happen to the traveled or the distance traveled by a car? So it will also increase. So yun po ang direct, no? Kapag sinabi nating direct variation, if the first quantity or if the first variable increases, so the second variable will also increase. So kung nadagdagan yung amount ng gas, madadagdagan din yung matatravel ng car or yung distance na matatravel ng car. So let's take it the other way around, no? So may gas ako, no? Oh, speed, that's another context na yan, no? So, but it's related to the gas and then the distance travel, but that is another context, no, Blessy? So, ibang context na yan. Ngayon, so let's take it the other way around. So, meron akong gas dun sa kotse ko. For example, may kotse ako, kahit wala naman. For example, meron akong amount ng gas dun sa kotse ko and then binawasan ko. Okay? Binawasan ko yung gas. So, what do you think will happen sa distance na matatravel? So, if the amount of gas decreases, so what will happen to the distance traveled by my car? No? For example, I have a car. So, I think kuha nyo na yun, no? Yung sagot. Let's see lang. Let's see in the comment section. So, what will happen to the distance traveled if I decreases the amount of gas or binawasan ko? Of course, the distance traveled will also decrease. 'Di ba? Parang common sense eh. 'Di ba? Parang ang variation medyo common sense lang din, no? And ganun lang siya kadali actually. Ganun lang kadali yung topic. The understanding of the topic. So ganun lang. Okay? So we can just use a very simple example para maintindihan niyo yung ating lesson. Ganun lang naman yun eh, no? 'Di ba? Para sa pagkain lang, 'di ba? Okay. Para sa pagkain, 'di ba? O yung amount ng pagkain dinagdagan mo. Of course, what will happen to your weight? Madadagdagan din, 'di ba? Kapag nagbawas ka ng kinakain mo sa araw-araw, of course your weight will also decrease. So that is variation, 'di ba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang variation, you will encounter that most of the time. Okay? So you will encounter that most of the time. Parang diet, kung sino man nagda-diet diyan, okay? So that's it. So let's move on. Okay, so let's have this naman. Baliktarin naman natin. A while ago, nagbigay ako ng statement and then ginawa niyong equation. Tama? This time, baliktarin naman natin. Okay? So magbibigay ako ng statement. So that is the statement, M is equal to K and raised to 3. But this time, kayo naman ang gagawa ng statement. So from equation to statement. So let's see. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Okay, let's see. Ayun. M is proportional to cube of n. M is directly proportional to the cube of n. Tama po yan. Very good. So, M is directly proportional. M is proportional. Wala bang gumamit dyan ng M varies? Pero tama po lahat ng aking nakikita. So, M is directly proportional to the cube of n. Ang pwede rin no? Kasi yung n cube, we can read that as ayun, n cube. Yun na pala yun. Kasi ang sinabi nyo dito is cube of n. Okay? Pwede yan. Pwede rin namang n cube. Okay? Pwede rin yun. So, m is proportional of n. So, di po natin, parang mali po yun, no? Kasi may cube. O mali yung square kasi we use 3. Pag 3 is cube. Okay? But I think most of you got the correct answer. Or we can use also m varies directly. Kasi in solving, mas nagagamit kasi yun eh. Yung m varies directly. Okay? So let's see. M varies directly as the cube of n. Pwede ring M is directly proportional to the cube of n. So very good po kayong lahat, no? And M is proportional to the cube of n. So tama po yan. So how about this one? Ito, mas madali na to. And I think ang makukuha nyo na rin to, no? So R varies directly as T, no? I think kuha nyo na. R is directly proportional to T. R is proportional to T. Okay? So don't forget, ang K laging katabi ng variable. So that is for direct variation. And I think you understand already how to translate from equation to statement and vice versa. Okay, so next. Now, so we're still in direct variation, okay? Well, of course, itong given na to ay direct variation kasi ang ating tinatopic ngayon ay direct variation. But the question is, how are you going to identify if we have a table of values? So this is called table of values. So if we have table of values, so how are you going to identify if that table of values shows a direct variation? Kasi of course, during the assessment, doon sa pinapasagutan ko sa inyo, ang tanong doon, may table lang, di ba? For example, may table lang and then you will be asked what kind of variation is this, di ba? So, yun yung tanong natin ngayon. So, how are we going to identify if this is a direct variation? Okay? So, medyo nawawala. Biglang nag-block yung aking screen dito. Okay, let's continue. So, let's take a look at the behavior. Okay, I think I'm back. Medyo mahina signal. I think sobrang hina talaga na ng signal kasi YouTube na lang yung gamit ko eh. Kasi actually ang YouTube is, ito yung parang medyo mahina ang konsumo sa data or Wi-Fi. Mas malakas pa ang Zoom. Okay. Are we good? Can I continue now? Give me cue po para malaman ko kung pwede na ako mag-continue. Okay, good. So, we're still good, okay? So, direct variation. So, again, so how are we going to identify if the given table of values is showing a direct variation? Now, so the first thing that we're going to consider here is the behavior. Okay, ang behavior is not only for human, okay? So may behavior din in terms of, like this. When we say the behavior, so yung pagbabago. So if we're going to take a look at the x variable, so ang mga value ay 1, 2, 4, 8, and 10. So it keeps on increasing. So pataas ng pataas yung ating x value. And then y values 4, 8, 16, 32, and 40. So if we're going to take a look at the behavior of y, nag-i-increase din also yung y. Di ba katulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, for us to know if the given is direct variation, if the first quantity increases, the second quantity should also increase. So like what happened here. So yan po ang titingnan nyo sa table, okay? Yung x value ba ay tumataas, yung y value ba ay tumataas. Okay, so in direct variation, when the x value increases, the y value also increases, no? So from 1 naging 2, from 4 naging 8. So parehong nag-increase. Nag-increase yung x, nag-increase din yung y. Okay? But it's not enough for us to conclude, no? Hindi siya enough para masabi natin, okay, nag-increase pareho. Direct variation agad yan. No, hindi po ganun yon. So that is only the first step. parang initial lang yon, okay? Pag parehong nag-increase, ang initial conclusion natin is okay, direct variation. But still, we have to check one more, okay? We're going to check something, and that is the constant. Kasi we cannot call it a variation kung wala siyang constant. Pareho ngang umangat, yung x at saka y, wala namang constant. So we cannot consider that as direct variation. Okay? Ngayon, ang initial conclusion natin, ang initial conclusion natin dito is direct variation. So how are we going to take the constant? Paano ba natin malalaman yung constant? Okay, here. In direct variation, the constant of variation is the ratio of the two variables. When we say the ratio of the two variables, the keyword here is divide. So we are going to divide the y value to the x value respectively, okay? Kung ano yung katapat niya. Ngayon, pag constant, hindi nagbabago. Kapag dinivide natin to bawat isa, 4 divided by 1, 8 divided by 2, 16 divided by 4, so on and so forth, dapat pare-pareho yan ang kalalabasan. Okay? So kapag pareho yan ang kalalabasan, so that is the constant. At kapag pare-pareho yan, so we can conclude 100% that this is direct variation. Okay? So next, so okay na ba? I think I can continue, no? So let's divide first. Okay. So unahin natin yung 4 at saka 1. So 4 divided by 1 is 4. Okay? So ganyan po yung procedure ng pagkuha ng constant, ha? And then step 8 divided by 2, still 4 pa rin. 16 divided by 4, so focus lang po sa table, ha? Still 4. Then 32 divided by 8, so that is still 4. And 40 divided by 10, that is still 4. So we can conclude na mayroong constant kasi nung dinivide natin pare-pareho. Di ba nga pag constant hindi nagbabago. So dahil pare-pareho nung dinivide natin, so we can say na 4 is the constant of variation. And we can conclude that this is a direct variation. Okay? Okay, so wait lang. So that is direct variation. So ulitin natin. So how are we going to identify what are the steps? Ang una, take a look at the behavior of x and y. Pareho bang umangat? Pareho bang nag-increase? Or parehong nag-decrease? Kung parehong nag-increase at saka nag-decrease, so initial conclusion is that is direct variation. Now, so we're going to check for the constant of variation. For direct variation, so we're going to divide. Okay? At kapag pare-pareho yung lumabas nung nag-divide tayo, so we can conclude that it is a direct variation. Okay? So kung medyo hindi nakakahabol sa aking explanation, so right after this naman, the live, so this will automatically save and uploaded in my YouTube channel, so you can go back, okay? So you can go back to my video or in this video. Now, I have a question for you. Question: what do you think will happen in the y value when x value is doubled? And we are talking about direct variation. So again, what do you think will happen in the y value when x value is doubled? Anyone in the comment section? I think you're talking about the quality of the video. So minsan po nasa internet connection nyo. Okay? Nasa internet connection nyo po yan. So please answer my question po so we can proceed, no? In direct variation, what do you think will happen in the y value when x value is doubled? Ayun, Daniel Silva, thank you for your answer, no? The y value will also be doubled. So ganun pag direct, direkta, no? So kung anong pagbabago ang mangyayari dun sa y, pareho lang ng pagbabago na mangyayari dun sa x. Okay? Pareho lang ng pagbabago yung mangyayari. So what will happen if it's tripled? Pag na-triple yung x or yung y, of course yung x value mati-triple din. So pareho lang ng mangyayari. So that is for direct variation. So don't forget that. Direct variation, pareho lang na magiging change. So the y value will also be doubled. Okay? So kapag nag-increase, for example, we are talking about direct variation. Nag-increase ng 15% yung unang variable. So the second variable will also increase 15%. Pag nabawasan, for example, nabawasan ng 30% yung unang variable. So the second variable, mababawasan din ng 30%. So that is direct variation. Okay? So I hope you understand already direct variation. So we're going to proceed to some computation. Okay? So like this, no? Pakita pala muna natin. So here in our table, from 4 to 8, di ba na doble yon? Tama? 4 to 8 na doble kasi 4 times 2 is 8. So let's check the corresponding y value. Ang corresponding y value ay 16 and 32. Na doble rin, tama? Kasi from 16, it became 32. So yun po yung ibig sabihin natin, okay? Okay, next pala, next. So how about this one? Okay. So we have a table here. Oh, it's your turn now. So hindi ko sinasabi na ito ay direct, hindi ko sinasabi na ito ay inverse, no? Or not a direct variation. So I want you to identify if this table of value is direct or not direct variation. So I will give you time, okay? So una, tingnan nyo muna yung x at y ba ay parehong tumaas or parehong bumaba? Then after that, try to divide. So what is this? Direct or not? Or why is it not direct? So if this is not direct, I'm not saying that that is already the correct answer, okay? So I'm just trying to ask you about your answer. Try to defend your answer. So who can defend their answer? Why is it not direct? 4, 7, 12, 13. Eh pareho namang umakyat, di ba? Very good, Kailon. Bilis ah. Very good, Kailon Loresca. And Princess. Okay, if the constant change, we cannot call it constant. Okay, you get the point? No? Kapag nagbago yung mga number, hindi na siya constant kasi nagbago na. But the correct statement is the ratio of the two variables change. Okay? It's not the same. Very good. Very good. Very good, grade 9. So kahit pataas pareho, kasi if we're going to take a look, parehong nag-increase. Diba? The initial reaction for that is, ay okay, direct variation to. Kasi parehong nag-increase. But no, we still need to check for the constant. Very good. So this is not direct. Okay, very good. Natututo po kayo. So parehong nag-increase. Initial conclusion is direct, but that is not the final conclusion. So we have to check for the constant. If there is a constant, so 12 divided by 4 is 3. 28 divided by 7 is 4. Dun pa lang, hindi na siya direct kasi nagbago na. So let's just continue. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 39 divided by 13 is 3. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So dahil iba-iba yung lumabas nung nag-divide tayo, this is not a direct variation. Very good. Okay, very good po. So let's proceed. So how about this one? 1, 2, 5, 6, 9. Ang x, 5, 10, 15, or walang 15. 5, 10, 25, 30, 45. Direct or not? So again, they both increases, no? They both increase yung x at y. But still, we have to check for the constant. Okay, direct. Direct ito. Check natin. So let's divide. 5 divided by 1 is 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And 45 divided by 9 is 5. So this time, so we can conclude 100% this is a direct variation. So I hope natututo din yung iba. And I'm glad na yung mga nagcha-chat nakukuha niyo po, no? Very good po. So next, how about this one? Okay, how about this one? So kindly check at the behavior of X and Y. For the third one, bilis ni Kylon na. Sino kaya maka-beat? Who can beat Kylon? No? It's like Kylon is our top one right now. Kasi siya yung pinakamabilis, at the same time tama yung sagot. This is not direct. Now, who can tell me why? No? We're not going to stop in asking if this is direct or not. Of course, we should ask why. 'Di ba? Para makita natin kung talaga naintindihan nyo. Tama yun. This is not direct. Why? Bakit? Who can tell me? Why is it not direct variation? Wala, wala meron, kaya nyo yan. Ano lang, friendly competition. Okay? Healthy, or friendly competition is healthy. Hindi po kasi sila parehong nag-increase. Tama. So in short, magkaiba yung direction, di ba? Di ba kaya nga tinawag na direct? That is the cue. That is the cue. When we say direct, they have both, or they have the same direction. Okay? So that is the keyword for that. Kasi we're going to take a look the X value. Okay, wait. The X value increase, no? Nag-increase. And the Y value decreases. So kapag ganyan, magkaiba ng direction. Yung isa nag-increase, isa nag-decrease. You don't have to get the constant anymore. Okay? Parang it's just a waste of time kapag kinuha niyo pa yung constant nito. Kasi sa behavior pa lang, hindi na siya talaga direct. So it's not a direct variation. Kasi nga pag sinabi nating direct variation, dapat pareho ng direction. Dapat pareho silang nag-increase or pareho silang nag-decrease. Okay? Now, if this is not a direct variation, so what do you think is this, no? What is this? Kung ang isa ay nag-increase and then the other one decrease, so what kind of variation is this, no? Ano kayong variation to? May makakasagot kaya? Is it still Kylon who will be the first one? Oy, si Rafael ang nauna at tapos sumunod si Princess. Yes, this is inverse, no? But same thing with direct variation. This is our initial conclusion. We still need to get the constant, but we're going to talk about that later, no? So this is just parang ano lang, trailer lang muna. At least you have an idea. In inverse variation naman, if the first variable increase, the second variable decreases. Kaya nga inverse, 'di ba? Pag sinabi nating inverse, kabaliktaran. So dapat baliktad yung nangyayari dun sa x at saka y value. Okay? So I hope you understand. So next one. Yan, solving na tayo. Dito na tayo sa mga numbers. Kasi of course, math is mostly about numbers. So solving for the constant of variation. Kanina sinolve natin yung constant, no, ng variation using table of values. Tama? But now, what if the given is statement? Katulad nito, it's like a word problem. So how are we going to solve, for the constant? Again, ano nga ang keyword? When we are talking about the constant of variation, ano nga ang keyword? Is it add, minus, add, subtract, multiply, or divide? What is the keyword for us to get the constant of direct variation? Is it add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Okay, so the keyword is divide. Oy, sumasali si Denise Castro. Very good, Denise, no? So the keyword is divide. Okay, nice one, Jodel. Divide. That is divide. No, joke lang. So divide, okay? So that is our keyword. Okay, divide. But we're going to do this systematically. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong step by step para alam nyo kung paano, no? Okay, so if y varies directly as x, and y is equal to 48 when x is equal to 6, find the constant of variation. So kapag ganito yung given, it's like a word problem. So the first thing you have to consider is what kind of variation. Kasi syempre in your exam or in your assessment dun sa module ninyo, hindi naman sasabihin dun na directly, okay, number one is direct variation. So hindi naman sasabihin ganun. Okay? So ipapakita lang yung problem. So the first thing we have to do is to identify um, the kind of variation. So obviously, etong word problem natin dito shows direct variation kasi may word na directly. Okay? If y varies directly as x. Okay? So this is a direct variation. So that is the first thing you have to do. Identify what kind of variation. And this is a direct variation, obviously. So the second one, when you are done identifying for the kind of variation, so write the equation. Okay? Isulat nyo na equation kasi kapag may equation kayo, dun mag-start ang ating solving. So without the equation, you cannot solve. Kasi wala naman kayong gagamitin. Okay? So the statement here is y varies directly as x. Very simple. Nauna ang y and then sumunod yung x. So the equation for this is y is equal to kx. Okay? So you have to write the equation. Y varies directly as x. Y is equal to kx. Very simple. So ano na ang kasunod natin gagawin once we are done writing the equation? So meron tayong mga values, tama? So the next part will be the replacing or the substitution. So we're going to substitute the value. Ano ba ang value ng y? So papalitan lang natin, gagawin natin 48. Ano ba ang value ng x? So the value is 6, no? So we're just going to replace the value and then the new equation will look like this. Pinalitan lang po natin. So 48 is equal to k and then multiplied by 6. If you still remember, in solving, di ba, meron tayong the variable should be alone, do it to the left, do it to the right, di ba? So what are we going to do next here? Anyone? O, tama yung kay Princess, tama yan. So what will be the next step? Okay, good. So we're going to, okay, so divide. Okay, very good, Kailon. Yung kay Carlos kasi, dinerecho na niya, no? Dinerecho na. Pero tama rin naman yan. So the next one is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. Kasi nga, di ba, yung k kailangan niyang maging alone para ma-solve natin. So para maging alone yung k, so we have to divide that by 6. So do it to the left, do it to the right, no? Divide both sides by 6. Then after that, we can already cancel 6 para maging k na lang. Okay? And then 48 divided by 6. So what is the answer? Very simple. So the answer is 8. Tama? So the constant of variation here is 8. So I hope you get the point here. Okay? Nakuha na? So the value is 8. So next one, another example. Oh, what is the equation here? So obviously, this is direct variation. Meron tayong word na directly. So kindly create an equation for this problem. If m varies directly as n, and m is equal to 38 when n is 2, find the constant of variation. So what is the equation here? Okay, good. Denise Castro. Aba, si Denise nakadalawa na. Good, Denise. So that is m is equal to kn. So that is our equation. And then after that, so we're going to replace the value. So what is the value of m? That is 38. And then the value of n is 2. No? So we're going to replace that. So 38 is equal to k times 2. Diba? Naghahabol eh. Oh. Good. Nice one. So what are we going to do next here? Para maging k na lang kasi kailangan maging alone ng k. So what we're going to do next is to divide both sides by 2. Tama? So divide both sides by 2. So cancel natin yung 2. And then 38 divided by 2 is 19. So the answer here is 19. So the constant of variation in our problem is 19. So that is how you get the constant of variation. But actually, meron namang mas simple. Actually, pwede nyo nga i-mental na lang yan eh. Madali lang talaga siya. But still, I need to show you the proper way, no? The proper way of solving for the constant. But since it's just a constant of variation for direct, ang keyword nga is divide. So all you have to do is to divide. So we have here, for example, let's go back to the first example. The first example, ang given is 48 and 6. No? So we're just going to divide. 48 divided by 6, that is 8. Ganun lang siya kasimple. So the next one, the same. So ang given is m is equal to 38 and then n is equal to 2. Okay? So the answer here is 19. So 38 divided by 2 is 19. Hindi ba masyadong kita ang okay, wait lang. Wait lang let's try to adjust. Okay, wait lang. Ano ba, hindi makita kasi malabo or maliit lang? Kasi I think sa iba okay naman. So if it's blurred, it's in your connection, no? It's in your connection. Okay? Blurred. I think it's in your connection, Rafael. So ano ka lang, refresh. Refresh lang siguro. So let's continue, no? Let's continue. So that's it. For direct variation, the keyword is divide for you to get the constant. Let's move on to the solving problems involving direct variation. This time, it's not only about the constant, but we're going to solve for the variation itself. Okay, so let's continue. So if y varies directly as x and y is equal to 32 when x is equal to 8, find y when x is equal to 11. So kindly listen. Here, kapag ganito na yung problem, the first thing you have to do is, of course, you're going to identify if the given is direct variation or inverse. So obviously, this is an inverse variation. So we have the steps, no? So the first one, identify the variation and then write the equation. Number 3 is solve for the constant. Kanina hanggang number 3 lang tayo. No, hanggang solve for the constant lang. But now, we're going to solve for the missing value kasi may pangalawang statement. Now, para hindi kayo malito kasi ang daming number, dalawa pa yung x, no? Ang x natin ay may 8, tapos yung x natin may 11. So ano ba ang gagamitin dyan? Okay, here, so listen. Kapag ganito po yung ating problem, so the first step is to divide the whole statement or problem into 2. So hahatiin natin sa dalawa. Okay? Kasi, kaya natin nahatiin sa dalawa kasi kapag solving problem na, dalawang beses din yung parang solving natin. So the first solving is to solve for the constant and then the second solving is for the solving of the missing value. Okay, so let's write first the equation. So tama naman, y is equal to kx kasi y varies directly as x. So ito po yung first statement and then this is the second statement. So nakita nyo kung saan naghiwalay. Maghihiwalay yan dun sa word na find. Find y when x is equal to 11. So that will be the second statement. So the first statement will be the part wherein you are trying to look for the constant. So I hope malinaw po, no? So yung pangalawang statement ay magi-start dun sa find y when x is equal to 11. So minsan, ang tinatanong dyan, what is the value of y when x is 11? Okay? So again, so this is the first statement. Ibig sabihin, ito po yung una nating gagamitin for the solving. And then this is the second statement. Ito yung gagamitin natin for the second solving. So I hope malinaw po ang aking ina-explain. Okay, now, so yan, hinati na natin. So the first solving muna. Ang first solving natin ay yung may unang box. So y is equal to kx. Of course, papalitan natin yung mga value. So what is the value of y here? So obviously it's 32, no? Now, my question is what is the value of x for the first solving? Kasi dalawa yung x natin, ang x dyan ay 8, the other one is 11. So what is the value of x that we're going to use here? Is it 8 or 11? Ano pong gagamitin? Okay, good. So the answer is 8, no? Kasi yun yung nasa unang statement. So that's why we separated para alam niyo yun, mas madali niyong malaman kung ano ba ang unang gagamitin. So let's replace the value. So ang magiging bagong equation natin is ganito, no? So we have 32 for the y and then yung x natin ay 8. So obviously, sabi ko nga i-divide lang to kasi nga direct variation. So what do you think is the value of k? Sige, tanungin ko na kayo directly. What do you think is the value of k here? You're just going to divide. Okay, good. Yan, nakukuha nyo. Very good. I hope the others know. Kasi um, I am seeing same person. And to tell you, no, just to tell you, hindi po nasasayang yung mga sumasagot dito, no. I am taking note of those people or students who are actively participating in our online class. And to tell you again, I am giving them extra points. Okay? Or in short, I give them additional points. So kilala ko naman yung mga sumasagot kasi binabalikan ko tong online class ko. Then of course, tinitingnan ko kung sino yung madalas sumasagot. So that's why I am encouraging the others of course to attend and of course to participate actively. So going back, so the answer here is 4, di ba? You're just going to divide. 32 divided by 8 is 4. But of course, to have a proper solving, so we're just going to divide both sides by 8. And then let's cancel 8. And then of course, divide 32 by 8. So the answer is 4. Okay? So we're not yet done. Because this is only the first statement, yung unang box lang. So ang pinaka-goal natin dito is to look for the y value. Kasi nagkaroon na ng change eh. Ayun yung sinasabi nating change. Yung 32 or yung x naging 11. So nagkaroon ng change. So ano mangyayari sa y from 32? Okay? So let's proceed to the next statement. Still, we're going to use the same equation. Okay? Same equation pa rin. Hindi po magbabago. Kasi yun lang naman ang ginamit nating equation for this problem. Same procedure pa rin. We're going to replace the value, but this time we're going to use the second statement. Ngayon, ang hinahanap dito ay y. Of course, yun yung hindi natin i-replace kasi yun nga yung wala. Ang meron tayo dito is the value of k, which is 4, and then the value of x, which is 11. So we're going to use now 11. So it will look like this. Okay? So y is equal to 4 for the k and then times 11 for the x value. And then you're just going to simply multiply. Okay? So 4 times 11 here is 44. And that's it. Tapos na. We're done solving. Ganun lang po kasimple. We just changed or replaced the value and then multiply and then that's it. Nakuha na natin. Y is equal to 44. And I hope naka-follow yung iba, no? So I hope the others followed. So next, para mas makuha pa natin yung solving problems. Okay, now, this is the real solving problem. Kasi kanina, it's just a statement, no? If y varies directly as x, and y is equal to 32 when x is equal to 8. So that is just a plain problem. But this time, we're going to use a real-life situation. Okay, so this is the real-life situation problem, and we're going to solve for this. A bottle of 175 vitamins cost 700 pesos. Si Rafael, nauna na agad. Okay, good. That's good. If the cost C varies directly with the number of vitamins. Kindly take a look at the statement, ha. If the cost C varies directly with the number of vitamins in the bottle, what should a bottle with 225 vitamins or vitamins cost? Still, we're going to divide this into two statements. Kasi para malaman natin kung ano yung gagamitin nating value or number for the first solving, and then the value for the second solving. Now, I'm going to ask you first. So what will be the, what do you call this? The equation. So the answer here is C is equal to KV. So very good, no? So that's why you need to learn first how to translate statement to equation. So tama yan, very good po. So C is equal to KV. Now, hanggang saan kaya ang first statement? At saan mag-uumpisa ang second statement? Okay? Ayun yung kailangan nating malaman. So anyone, again, saan mag-e-end yung first statement and saan mag-i-start yung second statement? So para malaman natin kung ano yung gagamitin for the first and second solving. So I'm going to post still the steps para hindi po kayo malito. Anyone? I am waiting for an answer. Sir, pag pinaghati ng ano okay, yon. I think ito mas malinaw to. I think mas malinaw kay Princess, no? Sa battle po mag-e-end, tas ang start po sa what? Okay? Sa battle po mag-e-end yung first statement, tama yan. So sa battle, yung word na battle, yung mag-e-end. Okay, tama yan. Okay. Good. Okay, of course, our equation here is C is equal to KV. Ayan, so this will be our first statement. So nag-end siya sa, excuse me, sa word na battle, and mag-end or nag-end siya sa word na battle, and then the second statement will start with the word what. Okay? So now, we can already solve. Kapag ganyan kasi naka-organize na, madali na siyang isolve. Okay, now, so we're going to replace the value. We're going to look for K. So that is for the first statement. Lagi po tandaan, ang una nating solving, ang hinahanap ay constant. So what is the value of C and what is the value of V? So the value of C here is 700 because that is the cost. Tama. And V, that stands for vitamins or number of vitamins. So that is 175. Yun po ang gagamitin natin. We're not going to use 225. Later po yan. Okay? Now, so with that, so anong value ng K? O you try to divide. You're just going to divide that. 700 divided by 175. So what is the answer? So what is the value of K? Anyone? Okay, so the K is 4. Very good, Carlos, Reynaldo, Molina, Cisnorio. So the K is equal to 4. Okay, Denise Castro, Trisha, Jenny Cabalane, very good. So the answer is 4. Okay, so divide both sides by 175, cancel 175, and there, 700 divided by 175 is equal to 4. May mga humabol. Sino ba itong mga humabol na to? Okay, Jodel, Shena. You know kasi, I don't know eh, kasi baka mamaya iba, syempre dahil nakita na nila ng 4, syempre iba nagsunuran na lang ng 4. So that's why I'm giving my praise or commendation for the one who will get the correct answer first. So yung pinakauna nakuha ng correct answer, parang yun yung okay, good, nice one. Parang yun talaga very good. Kasi wala naman siyang paggagayahan. Anyway, so I hope the others are also computing or solving. So now we are done with the first statement. So let's proceed to the next statement. Again, we're going to use the same equation. Yan din natandaan. Kung anong ginamit dun sa unang solving na equation, yun din ang gagamitin sa pangalawa. Hindi po magbabago. Okay? So this time, So ano kaya ang hinahanap natin? Are we looking for the value of C or value of V? Kasi nakalagay dito, what should a bottle with 225 vitamins cost? Ano ang nawawala? C or V? Based on our problem. Anyone? Okay. Okay. Yan na, may iba na. What do you think? Is it C or V? I think most of you answered C, no? So the correct answer is C. Kasi ang tinatanong is the cost, di ba? So that's why in a word problem, you need understanding or comprehension. So dapat naiintindihan po yung problem. What should a bottle with 225 vitamins cost? So we are looking for the cost of 225 vitamins. Now let's start substituting or replacing. So we're looking for C, no? So this will look like this. So yung K ay yung 4 and yung V is 225. Pinalitan lang po natin. We're just going to simply multiply that. So what is the answer? So what is the answer here? 4 times 225. Ganun lang po kasimple. 900. Okay? So the answer here is 900. Okay, take note. So let's be real here. In word problem, so you have to take note that this is a word problem. We cannot just write 900. No? Kasi nga, merong tinutukoy. Ano yung 900 na yon? So this cannot be our final answer. Okay? So yan po yung kadalasan nagiging mali ng mga estudyante in any level, even in college. Yan po yung kadalasan nagiging mali. Okay? Hindi nila tinatapos. Kasi in word problem, kailangan malaman mo kung ano yung tinutukoy ng number na yon. Well, the correct answer is 900. Pero ano yung tinutukoy ng 900 dyan? Okay? So this should be your final answer. So the final answer should be like this, no? The cost of a bottle with 225 vitamins is 900 pesos. So there should be a unit. 900 pesos. Hindi pwedeng 900 lang. I hope you learned something, no? So it's also a reminder when you are solving for a problem. So you should not stop in solving na C is equal to 900. Okay? Let's continue. So the answer is 900 pesos. That is the final answer. Okay. Next. So I think this is the last one for the direct variation. So after this, we're going to proceed to inverse. Okay, so that is the correct answer. The cost of a bottle with 225 vitamins is 900 pesos. Okay, here. Rice is considered as one of the essential food. Okay? So lugaw is essential. Okay? Napakatagal ng trend yon. Rice is considered as one of the essential food. If 56 kilograms of rice, so yan na, may variable na tayo, can feed a family for 4 weeks, how many weeks will 84 kilograms of rice last for the same family? The first question here, ano ang dalawang variable na tinutukoy dito? Ano ang dalawang variable? It's really easy to get the equation. So that is correct. R is equal to KW. Now, in R is equal to KW, what are the two variables? Diba? In variation, we have two variables. In direct variation. Rice and family. Oh, now, rice and family daw. Daniel. Ayun, pinalitan. Sorry medyo naano lang sa rice and family. So that's why you need to be careful. Okay, tama yan, Rafael, no? Rice, R and W. But you know, in word problem, when we are looking for the variable, kailangan matukoy natin kung ano ba talaga. Nalito, that's fine, that's okay, Daniel. Dapat nating matukoy kung ano talaga yung variable. We cannot just name the letters, no? But I am telling you, Rafael, R and W is the correct variable, no? But we are talking about the problem itself. No? What are the two variables? Okay, very good yung kay Loresca, kay Kailon. Ay, Kailon na naman. Ano ba? Si Kailon na naman ang nakuha ng ang exact answer. Medyo kulang lang ng konti. Rice and weeks, pwede na yan. Tama yan. But we have to take note the exact variable. Anong rice? Diba? Ano yung rice? Brown rice? Okay? The exact answer here, the two variables are the kilogram of rice or the weight of rice. That is the exact variable. And the number of weeks. Okay? So kilogram of rice and weeks. So those are the two variables. Now, yun ulit. Saan mag-end at mag-stop yung first at saka second statement? Hatiin na natin. R is equal to KW. Kanina pa yan. Napakadali lang naman niya makuha ng equation. So the first statement is here. Wag na natin isama yung rice is considered as one of the essential food. Kasi ano lang yan parang a filler, parang pandagdag lang dun sa problem, no? Para magmukha lang, para mas maganda lang yung introduction. But that is not really part of the solving, no? So that's why the first statement is this, no? If 56 kilograms of rice can feed a family for 4 weeks, how many weeks will... So the second statement here is this one. Okay, wait, may nakalimutan pala ako, no? Na itanong. Well, we are talking about direct variation. So that's why nakuha nyo agad yung equation na R is equal to KW. But of course, what if nasa exam? 'Di ba sa exam, hindi man binanggit na direct or inverse. Kasi dito walang binanggit na R varies directly as W. 'Di ba? Walang binanggit na ganun. Paano nyo nalaman na direct variation to? That is my question. Paano nyo nalaman na direct variation ang given? Wala naman sinabi sa problem na R varies directly as W or the kilograms of rice varies directly as the number of weeks. Paano nyo nalaman na ito ay direct variation? Anyone? So kapag ganito, yung given, so that's why I ask you to identify first the two variable. That is the kilogram of rice and then the weeks. You try to experiment. No? You try to experiment. What will happen? Okay, if the kilogram of rice increases, laging ganon. Okay, laging ganon. If the kilogram of rice increases, what do you think will happen for the number of weeks? Kapag mas madami yung bigas, mas maikli ba yung weeks na itatagal sa pamilya o mas hahaba yung weeks na itatagal sa pamilya? Okay, so that is the idea. 'Di ba? That is very simple, 'di ba? Napakasimple lang nung pinag-uusapan natin. Syempre mas dadami yung weeks, no? Okay. So, in short, what happened or what is the behavior of the two variables? So they both increases, no? Or they both increase. Kapag nag-increase yung bilang or yung kilogram ng rice, magi-increase din yung bilang ng weeks, tama? Magi-increase din yung bilang ng weeks na tatagal dun sa pamilya. Kasi syempre maraming bigas eh. Depende na lang kung mas lumakas sila kumain, no? I think naman hindi, no? Okay, so that's why ito ay direct variation kasi parehong nag-increase, okay? So ganyan po ang pagtukoy. Kapag walang binanggit sa word problem na R varies directly or R varies inversely, so you have to analyze. So you have to analyze the problem. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so we know already the first statement. So we're going to look for the value of K. What is the value of K? Hindi ko na ipapakita yung what is the value of K here. So the first statement is 56 kilograms can feed a family for 4 weeks. What is the value of K? Okay, good. So the answer here is 14. Uy, parehong princess pa yung nauna. Magkaibang tao yan siguro, no? Kasi De Castro at Jeminos. So the answer is 14. Very good. So we're just going to replace the value. Diba? Yan nakagandahan pag alam mo yung first at second statement. So ang R ay 56 and then ang W ay 4. We're just going to replace that. Then of course, we're just going to divide both sides by 4. 56 divided by 4 is 14. Eh kasi baka may calcu, di ba sabi ko sa inyo mag-calcu kayo? Pwede mo kayo mag-calcu. Ba't daw ang bilis? Okay, next. So we are done with the value of k. So this time we're going to look for the value of, so ngayon, anong hinahanap? What is the missing value? We're already in the fourth step. Anong hinahanap? R or W? Kilograms of rice or number of weeks? Anong hinahanap? Okay, weeks. Okay, very good, Kailon. So, ayun, nakalagay naman dyan, how many weeks? Diba, doon pa lang, huli nyo na eh. How many weeks? So, in short, we are looking for the number of weeks. So, yun yung nawawala ngayon. So, ang given natin, so again, same equation. We're not going to change the equation. So, the number of weeks. So, meron tayong R. Ang value ng R natin ay 84. And then, ang K natin is 14. So, what or how many weeks? O, ang tanong ko, how many weeks? Will 84 kilograms of rice last for the same family? Ilang weeks itatagal ng 84 kilograms? O, ayan, tinatagalog na natin. Ilang kilo or ilang weeks ang itatagal ng 84 kilograms of rice dun sa family? Si Heminos, kompleto. The 84 kilograms of rice last for the same family in 6 weeks. Tama. So that is 6 weeks. Paano nakuha yan? So same lang, no? Kasi kailangan natin i-isolate yung W. Alang haba naman yan. 336. Paano naging 336? Ang grabe yun. 336, ilang taon yan? Try to divide that by 52. 336 divided by 52. It's like almost 6.5 years. Oo. O yan. That is a learning din, no? Hindi kailangan lagi i-multiply. When we are looking for the missing value in direct variation, it's not always multiply. So you have to take a look at the equation. Katulad nakikita niyo sa equation, 84 is equal to 14W. And we are looking for W. Kailangan natin alisin yung 14, tama? So that's why we have to divide. Divide both sides by 14. Yan. So divide both sides by 14 so we can cancel 14. Okay? And then we're going to divide. 84 divided by 14, so the answer is 6. So very good. Pero at least si Daniel natutunan niya agad, no, na na-multiply daw niya. So dapat kasi i-divide. Okay, good. Tama yun ni Rafael. Dapat divide. So this is not our final answer, no? So the final answer here is 84 kilograms of rice will last for 6 weeks to feed the family. Okay, so that is the correct answer. 6 na linggo lang yung 84 kilograms. Hindi pwedeng 336 weeks. 6 na taon yun. Tama, mahigit 6 na taon. Isipin nyo, no, 84 kilograms na pagkasya sa 6 na taon. Tigda 2 butil lang kada araw. Parang hirap. Anyway, so that's it for solving problems involving direction or direct variation. We're now going to proceed with inverse variation. Okay? So time check. Nakapag-render na tayo ng 1 hour and 37 minutes. Please bear with me. So I know it's already 12. Pwede kayong kumain habang nakikinig ng lesson. So 2 hours po ang ating math, no? So that's why I need to continue. Let it be inverse variation. I think nawawala ng konti. Okay? So I think I'm back. Okay, good. So let's continue po, no? So inverse variation naman. For us to understand inverse variation, let's have a comparison. Sometimes it is better to compare two things to understand the content. Okay? So that's why we're going to compare direct and inverse variation. In direct variation, the equation is y is equal to kx. nabasa yung CV habang kumakain. O wag naman. Okay, ingat lang, ingat. So, let's continue. So, direct variation, the equation is y is equal to ax. Okay? Tingnan nyo ngayon yung issue ng variation. Is variation variation, yung k, katabi yan yung variable. Okay? Direct variation, yung k, katabi yung variable. Direct. In inverse naman, yung k ay nasa taas nung variable. So that's why it is y is equal to k over x. So yan po ang pagkakaiba. Kapag inverse variation, laging nasa ilalim yung isang variable. Okay? So depende. So choppy ba? Hello? So tell me if okay na, no? Yes, hello? Inverse variation? Okay, so I will continue, okay? So yun po, kapag inverse variation, nasa ilalim po yung isang variable. Okay. Now, let's proceed to the statement. This is very, very easy and very simple. Kapag inverse variation, nandun lang yung word na inversely. Okay? So direct variation, we use y varies directly to x. Of course, in inverse variation, we're just going to use y varies inversely to x. Or y is inversely proportional to x. So nandun po yung word inversely. So that is simple. And I think nakuha nyo na yon. Now, example, the number of hours T required to do a job varies inversely to the number of men working. So that is the statement. Oh, it's your turn now. So what is the equation for this? Take note, we are talking about now inverse variation. Tari ni Kent, nag-English. Yeah, it's a good thing. Now, it's your turn. What is the equation? Okay. So T is equal to K over N. So ganyan po itsura. Okay, good. Nasa ilalim yung N kasi nga varies inversely to the number of men. Okay? Even though we are in live no in YouTube, pwede kayong magtanong ha. You can still ask question. Mababasa ko rin pa rin naman yan. So if you have confusion, may kalituhan kayo, you can still ask. And then I will try my best to answer your question. Okay? So tama lahat. So T is equal to K. And sino nauna? Check nga natin. Nauna si Rafael. Nice. Nauna si Rafael. And then sunod si Daniel. So next. So that is the answer. T is equal to K over N. Okay, now, how about this? B is inversely proportional to the cube of D. Take note ha. Sabi ko kanina, kung capital ang ginamit, dapat capital din yung equation. So B is inversely proportional to the cube of D. So what is the answer here? Naghahanap pa sila ng exponent. Parang hirap pag cellphone, no? Okay, tama yung kay Daniel Silva. Ngayon, tingnan nyo na lang din yung comment ng mga classmate ninyo. Okay, I need to tell this, no? Yung kay Jenica Balane ay mali. Okay? Jenica Balane, mali po yan. Bakit mali? Kasi you used lowercase na letter. Dapat capital letter. Yung B at D ay capital. Diba sabi ko, kapag capital ang ginamit, dapat capital din sa equation. So you have to take note of that. Okay. Walang cube yung iba. Dapat may cube. Cube of D. Ibig sabihin, merong exponent na 3. So kindly check the answer of, sino ba yung pinaka-nauna? Nauna si Daniel Silva. Kindly check the answer of Daniel Silva. So that is the correct answer. And then of course, the others got the correct answer as well. So yun po ang tamang sagot. Dapat merong cube. Yan. And dapat capital letter. Okay, wala na yan. Sa ano na yan sa direct. Okay, now, let's talk about inverse variation. So this time, we're going to identify if the given table shows inverse variation. So kabaliktaran po ha, ulitin natin. Kung sa direct variation, parehong nag-increase or parehong nag-decrease, that is direct. Now, we are talking about inverse variation. Take a look at the word inverse. kabaliktaran, okay? So kung kabaliktaran, dapat ganito ang mangyayari. So if x value increases, the y value decreases. Or the other way around, if x value decreases, the y value increases. So kabaliktaran. Baliktad ang mangyayari. So take a look at our table, yung behavior ng mga value. Ang x natin ay 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, no? So nag-increase. Later on yan, Rafael, no? Um, X value natin 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. So nag-increase yan. Ang Y value naman ay nag-decrease, no? 24, 16, 12, 6, 4. So tama. Okay? Our initial pa lang ha, it's not yet final. Our initial conclusion for this is it is an inverse variation. Ano ang kulang? Kailangan nating hanapin ang constant. Okay, now, talking about inverse variation, so we have a different way of looking for the constant. Iba po ang paghanap ng constant ng inverse, iba po kapag direct. Indirect, divide. Ano ba ang kabaliktaran ng divide? Multiply, tama? So therefore, in inverse variation, para makuha natin ang constant, we need to multiply. Okay? So kaya kailangan nyo malaman kung kayo ay magdi-divide or magmumultiply. Kapag parehong nag-increase, magdi-divide. Kapag yung isa nag-increase, yung isa nag-decrease, imumultiply para makuha yung constant. Ayan o. In inverse variation, the constant of variation is the product of the two variables. Keyword, multiply. So we have to multiply this. We're not going to divide. Kasi pag dinivide natin to, magkakaiba talaga ng lalabas. Okay? Well, let's try. Ayun, 24 times 2 is 48. Tama? 16 times 3, so that is also 48. 12 times 4, that is 48 as well. 6 times 8, that is 48. And 4 times 12, that is 48. So, you can recheck that. Pare-pareho pong 48 yan. So, imumultiply po. And now, 48 is our constant of variation. Okay? So, nakuha po ba yun? Now, question. What do you think will happen in the y value when x value is doubled? Now, we are talking about inverse variation. Kabaliktaran, ha? Kabaliktaran pa, dapat lagi ang mangyayari. What do you think will happen in the y value when x value is doubled or multiplied by 2? Pag sinabi natin doubled, multiplied by 2. Any comment? Mukhang wala nang nasagot. Okay. Ayan, tingnan niyo yung sagot ni Kylon. Ano ba ang kabaliktaran pag doubled? Okay. I cannot take the answer of Princess, no? Why decrease daw? Nagkahalo-halo na, na-decrease na, na-double pa. Okay. Kapag doubled, automatic nag-increase yun kasi nga na-doble. 'Di ba? Na-doble ang pera mo. O, automatic nag-increase yun. You cannot say decrease doubled. Okay, parang hirap niya intindihin. Hindi rin natin pwedeng sabihin na decrease lang. Kasi anong klaseng decrease? Anong klaseng pagbaba ang nangyari? Hindi kasi natin pwedeng sabihin na kapag yung x ay nadoble, okay, yung y ay bumaba. Hindi natin pwedeng kunin yung word na decrease. Yes, bababa siya. It will decrease. That is correct. But my question is, it will decrease in what way? No? In what way will it decrease? Actually, may nakakuha na eh. Nakuha na ni Kylon. The y value will be half. Okay? Or will be halved. So divided by 2. So I think it will be easier if you're going to take that, no? 'Di ba? Doubled multiplied by 2. So the y value will be half divided by 2. Kasi 'di ba, ang kabaliktaran ng multiply ay divide. Okay, in inverse variation, hindi pwedeng sabihin na basta nag-increase, no, kapag ganito yung tanong. So kapag ang x value ay na-doubled, the y value will be half or divided by 2. Okay, let's have another one. Um, in inverse variation, if the x value is tripled, if the x value is tripled or multiplied by 3, what will happen in the y value? O ngayon naman na triple, if x value is tripled or multiplied by 3, what will happen to the y value when we are talking inverse variation? Anyone? So what will happen? Yan ang tamang sagot. Okay? Divided by 3. Yan, good. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na basta nag-decrease. Okay, natututo kayo, good. Okay? So what will happen in the y value when the x value is increased by 20%? O yan, gumamit na ako ng word na increase. Increase by 20%. Pwede na kayong gumamit ngayon ng decrease kasi gumamit na ako ng increase eh. In inverse variation, what do you think will happen in the y value when x value is increased by 20%? Nag-increase daw ng 20%, what will happen to y? Ano yun? Okay. Kailangan kompleto, no? Ayun. Decrease by 20%. Yan. Good. O, nakuha nyo na po, ha? Okay, let's proceed. So, yan po. So, from 4 to 8, so nadoble, no? Then, if we're going to take a look at the y value, 12 at saka 6, nahati sa dalawa. Kasi from 12 naging 6 divided by 2. So, tama, no? Kapag na-doubled yung x, ang y ay ma-divide by 2. Okay, next. Oh, here, it's your turn now. So, try to identify. This time, we have three possible answers. So, the answer could be, is this table direct variation, inverse variation, or not a variation at all? Okay? Pag sinabing not a variation, ibig sabihin walang constant. Wala siyang constant, hindi variation yon. So what do you think is the answer here? So look at the behavior, 10, 12, 18, 20, 30. O pataas ng pataas yan. Yung y naman is 18, 15, 10, 9, 6. Pababa ng pababa. So pwede ba natin i-conclude na inverse variation to? So you have to check for the constant. So inverse variation. O kung inverse variation to, so what is the constant? What is the constant? Yes, tama po. This is an inverse variation. But we have to take a look at the constant, no? Rafael, may constant po ito, no? May constant po yan. Yun. Very good. Nauna pa rin si Daniel. Pangalawa si Carlos. Okay, very good. So the answer is 180. So remember, nag-increase, nag-decrease. Hindi tayo magdi-divide, okay? Kasi nga, nag-increase tas nag-decrease. Ang initial conclusion ay inverse. Okay? Since inverse ang initial conclusion, so we have to multiply. So 18 times 10 is 180. Check natin, dapat lahat 180 yan ha. 15 times 12 is 180. You can check that in your calcu. 18 times 10 is 180. 20 times 9 is 180. And 30 times 6 is 180. Okay, good. Oh, good job daw, Daniel, sabi ni Sir Joshua. So we can conclude that this one is inverse variation. So good job. Next, how about this one? 12, 9, 6, 4, 3. Okay. O, kayo na ang bahala. So how about this one? Direct or inverse? Okay. So ano kaya ang sagot? So direct variation. So 3 ang constant. So let's check, no? So if it's really direct. So let's take a look first at the behavior, no? So that's the first thing. So ang behavior niya, ang x ay pababa, ang y ay pababa, no? So initial conclusion, this is direct variation kasi pareho ng direction yung x at saka y. Now, we have to check for the constant. Since it's direct variation, so we have to divide. So we have to divide, okay? So let's divide. 36 divided by 12 is 3. So dapat 3 na lahat yan. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. So very good. So we can conclude now that this is direct variation. So I hope the others are also following. Very good. Ang dami naman nakuha ng 3. So we have here Sir Joshua to give you praise, no? Last one for this table. Inverse, direct, or not a variation at all. So nauna sino una sumagot? Si Rafael. Ang sagot niya inverse. Pero pumangalawa si Kent, sabi niya not variation at all. Si Piolo ay inverse o not direct. Not a variation at all. O may inverse. So ano kaya ang totoong sagot? O let's take a look, no? Let's take a look. Okay, now. So the behavior, so x value pababa, so nag-decrease. Ang y value natin ay nag-increase, no? So posibleng inverse variation, but I am not saying that this is already the final answer. Kasi nga, this is only the initial conclusion. Kasi we still have to check if we have a constant. Since magkaiba ng direction, so initial conclusion ay inverse variation, so we have to multiply. Okay? So let's multiply. Let's try to multiply. So 16 times 5, that is 80. Now, what is 12 times 8? Ayun. Magkaiba na agad, no? 12 times 8 is 96. Let's just continue, no? For the sake of the other values. So the other one is 80. So this is 60 and this is 30. Well, the first conclusion or the initial conclusion is inverse variation. But we found out that we don't have a constant. Therefore, we cannot say that this is an inverse variation. But this is not a variation at all. It is not also a direct variation. It is not direct, it is not inverse. It is not a variation at all. Okay? So tama yung iba. Ayun, sabi nga ni Jenica Balane, not a variation because it doesn't have a constant. Not variation, walang constant. Very good. So I am glad. I am really glad kasi even though we are in live streaming in YouTube, so I can still give you knowledge and nakikita ko naman kasi natututo talaga kayo. So good job. Good job. So next one. Now, let's have now the solving for the constant. So napakadali lang ng constant pag inverse. You know, we don't have to, well, I'm going to show you the proper way, but again, there is a shortcut, 'di ba? In constant of variation for inverse, we just have to multiply. Okay? As easy as multiplying. Now, we have here if y varies inversely as x and y is equal to 15 when x is equal to 4. Okay, now, it's your turn. I'm not going to show you first the solution. I think you can do it. So what is the constant of variation for this problem? What is the constant? Ayun. Tama ba yan? May nagsagot na. Si De Castro, 60 po. Hindi siya sure. Well, the correct answer here is 60. Kasi nga, di ba, in inverse variation, like what we did a while ago in the table, when we are looking for the constant, we simply multiply the two values. Since we have here x and y, so the constant of the variation here is 60, as simple as that. But I will just show you the proper way of solving. Of course, we're going to identify first the variation, which is obvious. It is an inverse variation. And then after that, we're going to write the formula or the equation. Since we are talking about inverse variation, so y varies inversely as x, so the variable x should be in the denominator, no? Nasa ibaba siya ng k. So the equation here is y is equal to kx. Then we're going to replace the value. So ang y natin ay 15 and then yung x sa ilalim ng k ay 4. Now to get the k, since meron tayong fraction here, we're just going to do cross multiplying. Pero in a shorter way, no? Shortcut na natin. So, imumultiply lang natin yung 15 and 4. And then yung k naman ay solo na doon. And then there. So, 15 times 4, so that is 60. So, this is the proper way, no, of solving. But, of course, you will come up with the same answer. You will just multiply the two numbers and that's it. If it is an inverse variation, okay? So, next. So, how about this one? If x varies inversely as y. Okay, so this time, I'm going to ask you for the equation. What is the equation for this? Before looking for the constant of variation, so what do you think is the equation for this problem? If x varies inversely as y and x is equal to 24, when y is equal to 5, find the constant of variation. Equation first. Kindly show me in the comment section. Magkakaiba na. Well, actually, si Rafael. Rafael, ikaw lang naiiba. Paano ba yan? Rafael. Pero I'm not saying na mali si Rafael, ha? Later. So what now? It's like 1 versus 100. What now, Rafael? Are you going to change your answer? There, nagbago na siya. Well, the answer here is x is equal to ky or k over y. Si Jodelf. Sorry, sir, misspell. Weh. Na-misspell daw. Okay, bakit mali yung y is equal to k over x? Mali yun kasi here in our statement, nauna yung x. No? If x varies inversely as y. So therefore, kailangan mauna yung x and then is equal to k over y. So kung ano yung mauunang variable, kindly listen, no? Kung ano yung mauunang variable, yun yung una nyo isusulat. Naka-capital yung kay Michael, mali yan. Dapat small letter yung x, okay? Excellent, Kylon Loresca. Okay, so now, my question is, what is the constant of variation here? It's your turn again. What is the constant of variation here? So I'm just going to show you the equation. So that is the equation, x is equal to k over y. Now it's your turn to look for the constant of variation. I think Sir Joshua, no, next time pala, maybe you can tally. Nakalimutan kong sabihin, no? Dapat pala na itali ni Sir Joshua. But don't worry, I will just check this again. I am checking the video naman kung sino yung laging nagpa-participate. Next time, Sir Joshua, if we will have another live streaming here in YouTube. So maybe what you can do, so you can list the student who got the correct answer first. And then itatali mo na. For example, Kylon Loresca, tapos lalagyan mo na parang bakod. Siya yung nauna ngayon. Pangalawang tanong ni Sir, yung pangalawang tanong ko, siya ulit yung nauna. Itatali natin, no, para makuha natin yung parang score, para mabigyan natin sila ng additional points, syempre. Okay? So the answer here is, sino na una? 120. Okay? So we're just going to multiply. So the answer here is 120. So that's for the constant. Let's proceed. Kaya nyo na. Magaling na kayo sa pagkuha ng constant. You can do that already. Let's have now the actual solving. Ito na yung my first statement, second statement. Ngayon kasi, if you already understood direct variation, the proper way of solving, the step, I think it will not be hard for you to solve for the other variation like inverse, joint, and then combine. Kasi pare-pareho lang to ng process, no? It's just that they differ in the equation. Okay? So same thing will happen also in solving inverse variation. So we're going to identify the variation. Ito yung step. Ganun pa rin. Write the equation, solve for the constant, and then for the missing value. And of course, we're still going to separate this problem into two parts. Okay? O ngayon, tatanungin ko kayo, saan mag-end yung first part? O yung first statement, and then saan mag-uumpisa yung second statement? Go. Saan mag-start yung saan mag-end yung first statement, and then saan mag-i-start yung second statement? I think that's clear. Kasi dalawang beses na tayo magsasolve dito. The first one will be for the constant, and then the second one is for the missing value. 3 find. Ano na, tawag dito, shinortcut na. But I understand that already. So end sa 3, start sa find. Okay, good. So of course, we're going to write first the equation. Very simple. Y varies inversely as x. So y is equal to k over x. Kasi inverse yan. And then, of course, we're going to separate this into two parts. Ito yung unang part, or first statement, and then the second part. Okay? So let's solve. Gamitin natin yung una. So what is the constant here? Kitang-kita nyo naman yan. Nandyan na sa first na box yung mga given. So what is the constant for this given problem? So the constant is 48. Very good, Daniel. Ang bilis. Okay. So let's proceed. So let's just replace the value. The y is 16 and then x is 3. No, yung 8 mamaya pa naman gagamitin yan yung alignment. Okay, medyo nagbablock yung aking screen here. So I think I can continue now. And then you're just going to multiply that and then there. So 48 or k is 48. So the constant is 48. Very good. So next one, let's proceed to the second part. So find y when x is equal to 8. So definitely, we're looking for y. Ang given natin dito ay yung k at yung x. So again, let's write the value or the equation rather. And then, palitan natin yung value. So yung k ay 48. And then this time, yung x, yung nasa denominator, it will be 8 because we are already talking about the second part or the second statement. So you're just going to simply divide that. Diba? 48 over 8. So the answer here is 6. As simple as that. Tapos na tayo mag-solve. So yun na yun. Okay, good, Michael Angelo Aguas. So the answer here is 6. So that's it. Oh, very good. I think the others already understood the inverse variation. So let's proceed. Here. Now, so we have a word problem. So medyo maliit yung ating screen. At I hope nababasa niyo pa rin yung ating... Wait lang. Okay. So the number of days needed in repairing a house varies inversely as the number of men working on the house repair. Okay? It takes 15 days for 2 men to repair the house. The question is how many men are needed to complete the job in 6 days? Okay, now. So this is an inverse variation. So kindly show me the equation. So ano pong equation ang mabubuo natin dito? Before asking for the two statements. Ano equation dito? Okay, D is equal to K over M. Kasi nga, the number of days, D, varies inversely as the number of men, M. Okay? So what is the idea in this problem? Um, so idea in this problem, for example, you are repairing a house, 'di ba? Um, the more days that you are repairing a house, it means that there are lesser people who are working. Nakuha niyo po? 'Di ba, for example, kung ikaw ay mag-isa lang na gumagawa ng bahay, so mas matagal yung ite-take na paggawa ng bahay compare kung mas madami. Okay? So ibig sabihin, if the number of days increase, ang ibig sabihin nun, yung bilang ng tao na nagtatrabaho ay nagdi-decrease. Nakukuha po? So that is the idea. Siyempre, mas makonti yung tao, mas daming araw ang bibilangin bago matapos yung bahay. So I hope you got the idea of the problem. Now, so our first statement, so this will be the first statement, no? Okay, so pinakita ko na po. And then of course, the second statement, yung walang box, so it started with the how many men are needed. So that is the second statement. So for the first statement, so what is the value of K? O, hindi ko na ipapakita yung solving dyan. So I think it's your turn now if you really understand inverse variation. So ano po ang value ng K? Okay, very good. So the value of K here is 30. Nauna si Princess Lorraine de Castro. Very good. So the answer here is 30. So how did we get that? So if you're going to take a look, yung nakabox po yung first statement. So nandun po yung mga given. So let's just replace the value. And then we have 15 and 2. You're just going to multiply that. 15 times 2 is 30. As simple as that. So the proper way, of course, we're just going to replace the value. So yung 15 yung D, and then yung 2 sa denominator ay yung M, or the number of men is in the first statement. So we're just going to multiply that, and then the answer is 30. Now, the question here is, how many men are needed to complete the job in 6 days? So we're going to use still the same equation. Now, so we're going to replace the value. Ang hinahanap dito is number of men. So yung M sa ilalim, it will stay as the variable, no? It will stay as M. So ang papalitan natin dito is the value of D and then the value of K. So the value of D here is 6 and then the value of K is 30. Now, so paano po ito isa-solve? So what are we going to do now? Nasa ilalim yung M. So kapag ganito po, nasa ilalim yung variable, and then we are looking for the value of that variable. So kailangan ilagay natin sa ibabaw yung M. And then how are we going to do that? So we're going to do cross-multiplying. So 6 times M. So ganyan po ang gagawin natin. 6 times M. So may sagot na si Kent. Let's see kung tama yan, Kent. And then this will be our new equation. So cross-multiply lang po natin. Kaya naging 6M yan. 6 times M, 6M. And then yung 30 will stay as 30 kasi nasa ibabaw naman yan. And then of course, yung M, it should be alone, di ba? Like what we are doing before, like what we were doing before in the first quarter. So the variable should be alone. And then how is the variable be alone? How is it going to be alone rather? So we're going to divide this by 6. Divide both sides by 6. So divide by 6, cancel, and then 30 divided by 6 is 5. So technically, yung sagot ni Kent ay mali kasi mali yung variable na ginamit. No, we have to be strict. So the correct answer here is M is equal to 5. No? So ganun po tayo ka-strict in math. Kailangan tama po even though yung variable. Kasi kung D is equal to 5, mali yun. Kasi ang D natin ay 6, tama? Kasi 6 days. So it should be M. But not yet really the final answer. Since we are talking about word problem, ano ba yung 5 na yan? Ano yung 5 na yan? So yung 5 na yan is 5 men are needed to complete the job in 6 days. Okay? So that 5 is 5 men. So that is the final answer. 5 men are needed to complete the job in 6 days. And I think I have to stop here. Okay, so I will just show you, no? So yung joint at saka combined, we're going to do it next time. Kasi ano na tayo, overtime. It's already 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, take a look at this. You can get the screenshot of this, no? So this is the illustration of the graph of direct variation. So this is the graph of direct variation. Um, it looks like this. For direct variation, it's just a straight line going up, or it could go down straight line. So that is the graph of direct variation. For inverse variation, it's a little curvy. So medyo nag-curve siya. Okay? So nag-curve yung graph ng inverse variation. So kindly take the screenshot of this kasi I think makakatulong to sa pagsagot nyo dun sa module, dun sa mga assessment. Okay. So any question? May question po ba? So we're going to stop. So joint and combined variation, we're going to talk about that next time. So I will find another time. No? So maybe by Thursday, so we will have again another online class kasi kailangan natin matapos to hanggang combined variation. So I will just make an announcement. Okay. So do you have any question about direct inverse? Okay, well, so kung may mga tanong kayo, you can go back to this video. Kung meron kayong mga part na hindi nyo naintindihan and medyo na-confuse kayo, so right after this broadcast, I think it will take 2 to 3 hours after the end of the broadcast. And then after that, it will automatically upload in my YouTube channel. Okay? So again, thank you so much for attending our class. It doesn't matter if you're like 100 or 30 or 50. I am seeing the same students and I am glad that you are still active. Okay? Okay, si Chrysler, I think PM mo na lang ako, no? PM na lang yung mga ganyang tanong. So if it's not really about the lesson, so maybe PM na lang. Okay, so I will end the broadcast. So thank you so much. You can have your lunch. And I'm glad that you learned something for today.